Hey everyone, I hope you've had a great day so far and that you're doing well. For this video, we'll be going through an unboxing and review of Voyager class Optimus Prime. And this version of Optimus is from the Transformers Rise of the Beasts mainline figure line. So yes, this is definitely not the Studio series, it's just the normal Voyager. And this particular version of Optimus came out this year being 2023. In fact, it's probably been out for a few months now that the movie is out. In fact, it's finally out here in Australia. So at the point of recording this, which is a Friday, the movie came out yesterday. So there you go. And at some point I will see it, but I'm in no major rush. For several reasons that maybe one day I'll explain. Anyway, getting straight into the unboxing. So Optimus is the last of the three Voyagers. Already looked at Rhinox, already looked at Optimus Primal, so I thought I'd do Optimus last. So here you have the front of the box for Optimus with a very nice shot of Prime himself. And we do get to see Prime in his robot mode through the plasticless window. And to be honest, he actually doesn't look too bad. I know people have their own opinions, but that is okay. Perfectly valid. Side of the box, which is just a continuation of this artwork here. In fact, if I do that, that makes it a little bit three-dimensional. Other side of the box, just a repeat of the same image. In terms of the back, 20-step conversion between his robot mode and his truck mode. So with a bit of luck, that won't be too bad. Although Optimus being Optimus, it very rarely is. But I will admit, visually, he does look very cool. I think he looks better proportionally compared to his original Studio Series figure, but that's my perspective. You don't have to agree with that, which is perfectly fine. But I think he looks cool. Could he use some more color apps? Most likely, but we won't go there. Anyway, that was the box. Time to get Prime out and have a better look. And with Prime out of the packaging, what do we have? So we have a single accessory, we have Prime himself, which doesn't look too bad, and his manual. So before we get too carried away, accessory and Prime move to the side. Manual. So we do have the quick step on how to equip his, I'm still going to call it the Ion Blaster, but that's me being attached to old things. First 11 steps on the manual, nothing too overly complicated. And in fact, Optimus being Optimus, it just feels like a variation of a theme. And then the remaining steps, which isn't too bad. Yes, his Ion Blaster can be added to his truck mode, which probably will look the least offensive. But time will tell in terms of when I get to that point and have a look for myself. But definitely overall, transformation doesn't look too difficult. In fact, he's only 19 steps. Step 20 is literally add Ion Blaster to truck. Well, that's a little sassy. But anyway, that was the manual. I'll probably have a use for it later as a reference point, but that's okay. In terms of the Ion Blaster, all in black plastic. I think I did prefer the blaster that he had with his Studio Series release, but that's okay. It is a mainline figure. I can only expect so much. So there you go. In terms of equipping it, pretty much straight into the hand, and there you go. Optimus holding his Ion Blaster. Yes, and looking at it, it does feel undersized, underscaled, I'm not too sure. I do know a few people have used different weapons from other figures for their version of Prime, and it actually did look infinitely better, so I might have to double check with some of those people just to refresh my memory on who is borrowing whose weapons. Anyway, that is Prime with his blaster. Once again, he doesn't look too bad with it. Can he actually store that on his back? mean, it fits. I guess if you do it that way, it's actually not too bad. You hardly actually realize that it's there. So, if you wanted to, probably the point. Anyway, that's if you wanted to do some ad hoc storage of the gun. We'll come back to that later on once we hit his vehicle mode. Now, Optimus, can you stand on your own 2 feet before we get carried away? The answer is yes, although I thought that was a bit of an interesting experience getting you on your own 2 feet. Maybe it's probably because I just actually need to be a bit more dynamic and expressive with your feet. Anyway, standing, not a problem, which is always a good thing. So in terms of Optimus, so here we have Optimus from the front, the side, the back, the other side, and can we do a close-up without banging into anything? Yes, we can. Some very nice detailing on his head sculpt, as well as colors, and in fact overall, Prime just has some very nice detailing overall. Could it use some more paint apps, especially the area with the torso here? The answer would be yes, but for a mainline figure, what can you expect? They did some paint apps elsewhere, so I mean, they painted his toes. Consistency? Anyway, so that was a quick look at Prime from a few different angles. Now, color-wise, well, it's Optimus. It's his standard colors. His red, his blue, his grey, it's silver, a little bit of black, so, you know, it's Optimus. He's not going to have an overly different color palette. He does need to remain somewhat identifiable. And he does. He still looks very well. And I still stand by my comment that I just feel that proportionally, he actually does look and feel better than the original Studio Series release. Although in saying that, there is going to be a buzzworthy Bumblebee release of Prime, which I'm sure is going to be even better than this. So there you go. We'll look at that one in time. Anyway, let's try and go through articulation super quickly. So head. Head can do a 360. It was a little bit stiff, so that's why I was a bit hesitant that I wasn't shearing his head off. But you have that. In terms of the arms, can do a full 360 at the elbow. The inner arm can go off to the side, which is very good. We have a 75-degree elbow bend, which is very nice. Does it go backwards? Sadly not. Yes, we know that this can swivel. Can your upper arm swivel? Yes, it can. So elbow bend, swivel, more swivel at the shoulder. Obviously the arm can come out. There, I want to say there's a little bit of movement in the wrist, but not really. I think it's just more to support flicking the hand in and out, not so much to actually rotate it around in this socket area here, which is unfortunate, but still. Standard arm articulation, really, between the shoulder, elbow, and the upper arm rotation. A little bit of, well, actually, there seems to be two. So there's a little bit of waist rotation, which, unsurprisingly, does become hindered. But Prime also has upper torso rotation. So you can obviously go a little bit to one side at the waist here, and then bring it around a little bit more with the top of his torso. So that's actually nice to have the 2 points of articulation within his main torso area. Now just do this with the arms. In terms of the legs, I guess if we just move those skirts to the side, yes, full splits. Very nice. I'll put one of the skirtings back down. I'll keep the other one open. We have a full 360 at the top of the hip. So we know the hip can go all the way to the side. You can go all the way to the back, which is probably not unexpected, and then all the way to the front. So if I've done the hip, top of the hip, if we do that once again, what is his knee like? Standard knee, to be honest. Nothing overly exciting, which is fine. Bottom leg is pretty solid, and then the foot can pretty much go back and forwards. It will also have side to side as well, so that will definitely help. It's not a ball socket, I dare say it's pretty much just a normal hinge, so just be a little bit mindful that you don't over hinge it over time, if that's even a thing. So that was a look at Prime's articulation. Fairly standard for a Voyager class. There was nothing here that seems super duper impressive, but I will admit having the 2 points of articulation in the torso was nice. I think the extra articulation in the feet will probably go a long way for dynamic posing, because it will give you some flexibility to actually move those feet around with his legs. Although his legs seem pretty expressive, so overall I think Prime's done quite well with the general articulation. Now before I start switching him over into his vehicle mode, now 9 out of 10 times I usually do comment on kibbling, and I can't say that Prime is exempt from this, but it still is quite flush to the body. It doesn't seem overly intrusive, so not so much this back bit here, but he does have some of his little side cab wheels, rim, whatever. Here they do jut out ever so slightly, but because they do fold away quite neatly, it's definitely not too bad. I mean, even if you look at him on the side on, it doesn't stick out too much. He does have a little bit of kibble in the way that his smokestacks come out just a little bit, but definitely not too bad. I mean, he does have some of this kibble here on his forearms as well, but for the most part it's actually not too bad. It doesn't seem overly intrusive, so keep that in mind. But otherwise, Prime for his robot mode, very, very solid. So now that we've had a look at his robot mode, time to transform him, have a look at his truck mode, and then have some final thoughts regarding this Voyager class of Optimus Prime. And with Optimus now in his truck mode. How was the transformation? Transformation actually wasn't too bad. To my point that I made before I started the process, yeah, it's... The good thing about Prime being Prime is there are just certain things that just happen irrespective of what his alt mode is going to be. So there's a lot of callbacks to his G1's, I'll say style, because the transformation is not exactly the same. But some of the style and the movement was... It just made it a lot easier to be very intuitive with the transformations. So overall, transformation I was really, really happy with. The only 2 points that I would mention is when you put his windows back down, just be careful. You don't actually need to use a lot of force. I used a bit too much force and actually popped one of these things off. It's easy to pop back on. Just bear that in mind. And 2, I clearly didn't follow instructions properly for his feet. So when I had them, some of these things hadn't fully folded over properly, so the feet looked not flush, if that's even a word. But yeah, that were probably the main 2 things to worry about. In fact, does this thing move? Don't mind me, I'm just trying to see if like certain things move, because I'm just looking and going, it just seems really weird to, like, would you not want to maybe... Don't mind me, I'm just consulting the manual ever so quickly. Yes, you are supposed to do that. I just completely missed it. Okay. And obviously number 3, just, yeah, be very mindful of what you're doing. So the things that are usually folded over do fold back out just to go on the side of his truck. So anyway, Optimus in his alt mode, I have attached his weapon there, which to be honest actually doesn't look too bad. Being a mainline Voyager, obviously the weapon is just a single piece, there's no folding, so there's no real way to make it even extra hidden, but it actually doesn't look too bad here. So for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to keep that there. Front of Prime, the side, from the back, the other side, the top, the bottom. Still very much his predominant red, a lot of the silver. We do have some of these lighter blue now throughout, still a lot of the grey. The blue that was on his legs becomes a little bit more hidden now, so there's less of that, but overall, colours and everything does still look really good. A lot of detailing, surprisingly, on the figure. So there's definitely opportunities here to really make some of these pop out if you were ever so inclined, so definitely keep that in mind. In terms of articulation, it's pretty much just the 6 wheels that he has. They are independent, but it does feel that he can definitely achieve some form of forward and backward motion without any problems. Otherwise, it's very much a very typical Optimus alt mode. But I do like how his Autobot insignia is on both his shoulders and comes through quite nicely. So overall, I'm actually quite happy with his alt mode, which is good. I mean, not that I would go out and necessarily get 2 of him, but I would be at the point of I'm actually not too sure which mode to have him in, whether it's alt mode or robot mode. I guess with the buzzworthy Bumblebee version coming out, maybe I'd keep him in his truck mode and have that in robot mode? Time will tell. Okay, so bringing the manual back into view to try and refresh my memory on the robot mode side of things. Final thoughts. Robot mode, I quite liked it. Decent array of articulation, visual look, colors, aesthetic, it's all there. There's a little bit of minor kibble, but it's fairly minor in the grand scheme of things. There wasn't much really that I could really hone in on to be super critical about in his robot mode. And this is me as a person who actually doesn't mind the robot mode for this main line compared to the original Studio series. So robot mode I thought was actually quite good. Transformation from robot mode to truck, transformation, yeah, it's definitely intuitive once you start realizing what you're doing. I think there was just a few points where I stopped consulting the manual and just did my own thing, which probably explains why there was a few things that were still wrong by the end of it. So, but other than that, transformation, once you know what you're doing, is really nice, especially for a Voyager. It actually wasn't too complicated, which is really good. In terms of his alt mode, everything looks very nice. It's very prime. I didn't mention before, there is a good array of tabbing, so if everything's been done right, the legs tab together nicely, his arms tab into the tops of his legs and things like that, so it does keep him in a nice sturdy shape, which I actually quite enjoy and appreciate. So there you go, aim to get the tabbing right and everything will be okay. So that's the robot mode, transformation, and alt mode. What did I think of Prime overall? I have actually quite enjoyed this version of Prime. Now, in saying that, I've actually enjoyed all the Voyagers. Now, I will admit, aesthetically, I'm still on the fence with Rhinox and Primal, and probably forever will be. But as actual figures, they were quite nice, and I do believe that Optimus Primal will be getting a Leader Class Studio Series figure. So, Obviously, they're not going to be restricted to the main line, which is good. And I think that was always going to be the case. It's just toy releases are very weird. So, as a mainline figure of Optimus, he's definitely not bad. If you're willing to wait for a Studio Series release, by all means. I think that's still about another month or two away. If you have flexibility and you have the capacity and potential to get both, I would say actually get both. There is playability with this figure. So, whilst it's mainline, don't use that to automatically discredit the figure as being any form of fun or interesting. I've actually quite enjoyed it, and as I said, the Voyagers in general have actually yet to fail me. The deluxes of the main line, however, well, they were much more hit and miss. Much more hit and miss. So, yeah, if you see it, if it's on sale, special, whatever, you don't mind it, grab him. I think you'll enjoy him. I've quite enjoyed him. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the filming of the shorts and things like that goes. Hopefully there won't be any major complications there, especially since that's the real time that I get to start playing around with the articulation. I'm going to leave the unboxing and review of Voyager class Optimus Prime there. I think I've covered everything that needs to be covered. And I'm sure I'll cover some more stuff in various posts and social media later down the track, so that's not a major issue at all. So thank you very much for watching this unboxing and review video of Voyager class Optimus Prime, as per his iteration from Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Feel free to leave a like or comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. All of this does help support the channel, and I do greatly appreciate it. Extra content can also be found on my Instagram account, same handle as the channel, and there will be a supplementary YouTube short floating around as well for Optimus, just to try and showcase a bit of his dynamic posing and things like that that I haven't necessarily covered in this video. Prime being Prime will actually bring about not a proper end, but a passive ending to my unboxing and reviews of Rise of the Beast content, just because I'm still actually waiting to pick up a few more things from the line when I finally see them. I think that's about maybe 3 or 4 different figures to pick up, just not too many, so I'll do them as I get them in. But Prime will be the last of the main bulk of the Rise of the Beast content, so once he's out of the way, I'll probably start doing some extra shorts that I haven't had a chance to be a bit more thematic with them, with it having a bit more time and things like that. So definitely keep an eye out on those. They'll be posted to probably both Instagram and here on YouTube. And yeah, definitely check back every so often. Hopefully I'll get a bit more of the remaining Rise of the Beast stuff to cover off. And anything that comes out of Studio Series, I'll just do out of that as it comes in. With that being said, stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in a future video, whether it's still something out of Rise of the Beast, something else Transformer related, or just something else on the channel in general. See ya.